The bus was doing 85 miles per hour down the Arizona highway, and something was keeping pace, running alongside them on two legs, then four, then two again. Its face was painted half black, half white, and its eyes glowed with an unnatural light. When it looked at him through the window, he couldn't look away. Physically, couldn't turn his head. Then it smiled, an ear-to-ear grin showing crooked, yellow, pointed teeth, and dropped to all fours, transforming into a coyote before disappearing into the desert night. Hours later, he vomited blood. This is the Midnight Registry.
In the space between midnight and dawn, when the world turns cold and the light is gone, something's watching from the tree-line edge. These are the stories they don't want you to know.
Before we get into tonight's story, I want to give credit where it's due. This encounter comes from a collection of Skinwalker stories shared online. A high school student was returning home from a basketball game when he experienced something that would change his understanding of reality forever. The story takes place on Navajo Nation land, where Skinwalker encounters have been reported for generations. They aren't just campfire tales, they're real experiences that have shaped an entire culture's understanding of the supernatural. Full credit to the witness for sharing this account. Now, let's get to it. Northern Arizona, Navajo Nation territory. Vast stretches of desert punctuated by mesas and scrubland. Ancient land where the Dine people have lived for centuries, and where things still walk that shouldn't exist. A high school student, we'll call him Marcus, was on the team bus returning from a basketball game. It was late evening, the sun had set, and the desert highway was mostly empty. Just the bus, the driver, the team, and the endless Arizona night. Marcus was tired. It had been a long game. He was sitting near the window, half asleep, watching the landscape blur past. That's when he saw it. At first, Marcus thought it was an animal, something running parallel to the bus, out in the desert scrubland about 50 yards away. But the bus was doing 85 miles per hour. No animal runs that fast. Not a coyote, not a deer, nothing. Marcus sat up, suddenly alert, and he pressed his face to the window. The figure was humanoid, running upright on two legs, keeping perfect pace with the bus. Not struggling, not falling behind, just running effortlessly, as if 85 miles per hour was nothing. Marcus couldn't look away. The thing ran with an unnatural grace, smooth, fluid, like a predator that had evolved specifically for speed. Then it dropped to all fours, still keeping pace, still moving at 85 miles per hour, but now running like a wolf or a coyote, low to the ground. Then it stood back up, bipedal again, switching between two legs and four without slowing down, without missing a step. Marcus felt the ice run through his veins. This wasn't an animal. This was something else, and was getting closer to the bus. The creature moved closer, 30 yards, 20 yards, 10. Now Marcus could see the details. It was tall, maybe 6 feet, lean and muscular, and its face was painted, half black, half white, split down the middle like a mask. The paint wasn't clean or neat, it was rough, smeared, like it had been applied with hands. But it was the eyes that made Marcus's blood freeze. They glowed. Not reflected light from the bus, not headlights. They glowed from within. An unnatural, sickly luminescence. And they were staring directly at him. Marcus tried to look away. He couldn't. His head wouldn't turn. His eyes wouldn't close. He was locked in place, forced to maintain eye contact with this thing running alongside the bus at impossible speed. It was like the creature had reached into his mind and grabbed hold, paralyzed him with just a look. Marcus's heart was pounding. His breathing came in short gasps. And then the creature smiled. The smile stretched from ear to ear, far wider than any human smile should be. The corners of its mouth pulled back, revealing rows of teeth, crooked, yellow, pointed. Not human teeth, not animal teeth, something in between. The creature's eyes never left Marcus's as it grinned. That sickly glow intensified, and Marcus understood in that moment that this thing knew exactly what it was doing. It was toying with him, enjoying his fear, showing him that it could keep pace with a speeding bus, that it could force him to watch, that there was nothing he could do about it. The grin widened further, and then the creature began to change. The creature dropped to all fours again, but this time it didn't just change its stance, it changed its shape. Marcus watched, unable to look away, as the thing's body shifted. Bones cracked and reformed, the face elongated into a muzzle. The painted patterns seemed to melt into fur. Within seconds, what had been running on 2 legs was a humanoid, was now a coyote, a normal-looking coyote, running alongside the bus at 85 miles per hour, as if this was the most natural thing in the world. The coyote looked up at Marcus one more time. Its eyes still glowed with that same unnatural light, and then it veered off into the desert, disappeared into the darkness. Gone. Marcus finally found he could move again. He gasped, pulling back from the window. His heart was racing. His hands were shaking. He looked around the bus. Everyone else was asleep or talking. No one had seen it. No one but him. He was alone with what he just witnessed, and he had no idea what to do about it. For the rest of the bus ride, Marcus sat in silence. He didn't tell anyone what he'd seen. How could he? They'd think he was crazy. Hell, he was starting to think he was crazy. Maybe he'd fallen asleep, maybe it was just a dream brought on by the exhaustion. But it had felt so real. The eye contact, the smile, the transformation. And when the bus finally pulled up to the school parking lot, Marcus got off with everyone else. He went home and tried to sleep. But a few hours later, he woke up violently ill, and he vomited blood. Not a lot, just enough to terrify him. He'd never vomited blood before. He wasn't sick, he hadn't been injured, but his body was rejecting something, purging something. Like it had been contaminated by that eye contact, by that forced connection with whatever had been running alongside the bus. Marcus knew, in that moment, that what he'd seen was real, and that it had marked him somehow, left something behind. Marcus's family took him to a Navajo chief, not a doctor, not a hospital. A chief who understood these things, who had dealt with skinwalkers before. The chief performed a blessing, cleansing rituals passed down through generations. Prayers in Dain Bazad, the Navajo language. Marcus felt something lift, a weight he hadn't realized was pressing down on him. The chief told him he was lucky. Most people who made eye contact with a skinwalker don't get away with just vomiting blood. Some go mad, some waste away, and some disappear. Marcus had been marked, yes, but the skinwalker had chosen to let him go. Perhaps as a warning, perhaps as a game. Either way, the blessing had severed the connection. He was free, but he could never forget. In Navajo tradition, a skinwalker, or Natloshi, is a witch, a person who has gained the ability to transform into animals by wearing their skins. But they don't gain this power through good means. To become a skinwalker requires committing a terrible taboo, usually murdering a close family member. Once transformed, they can take the shape of any animal whose skin they wear: coyotes, wolves, bears, crows. They can run at impossible speeds, climb walls, jump incredible distances, and they can curse people with just a look, with eye contact. Navajo people don't speak about skinwalkers lightly. Even saying the name can draw their attention. They're not campfire stories. They're real threats that communities have dealt with for generations. And encounters are still reported to this day on remote reservation roads, in the desert, in the darkness. Things that run too fast, with eyes that glow, and faces that are painted wrong. Creatures that shift between human and animal. Marcus's encounter fits that pattern perfectly. The painted face detail is significant. In some Native American traditions, face paint has ceremonial meaning. It's sacred. The Skinwalker painting their face is a perversion of that, a mockery. The half-black, half-white pattern suggests duality, human and animal, life and death, sacred and profane. It's a visual declaration. I am both. I am neither. The crude smeared application suggests it was done in haste, or with contempt for the tradition it's corrupting. And it serves a purpose. The stark contrast, black and white, makes the face more visible in darkness, more memorable, more terrifying. It's psychological warfare. The Skinwalker wants you to see it, to remember it, to be haunted by it. And Marcus was haunted. For months afterwards, he couldn't close his eyes without seeing that painted face, that impossible smile, and those glowing eyes. The question that haunted Marcus most was why. The Skinwalker had him, forced eye contact, paralyzed him. It could have done more, could have cursed him properly, could have driven him mad. But it didn't. It smiled and transformed and ran away, like it was just showing off. The Navajo chief suggested it might have been testing him, seeing how he'd react. Or perhaps it was a warning to the whole bus, the whole team. This is my land. I can run faster than your machines. I can be anything I want, and there's nothing you can do about it. A demonstration of power. Or maybe, and this is the most disturbing possibility, it was playing. Some Skinwalkers are said to enjoy terrorizing people, to feed on fear. Maybe forcing Marcus to watch, to witness a transformation, to vomit blood hours later. Maybe that was enough entertainment for one night. Either way, Marcus was lucky. He lived. He got the blessing. He moved on with his life. But he never took that highway again, and he never, ever makes eye contact with coyotes in the desert. Just in case. Let's talk about the speed for a moment. 85 miles per hour is 125 feet per second. The fastest human ever recorded, Usain Bolt, ran 27.8 miles per hour for a few seconds. This thing was running 3 times faster than that for an extended period without tiring while switching between bipedal and quadrupedal locomotion. That's not just supernatural. That is physics-defying. Whatever Skinwalkers are, witches, interdimensional beings, something else entirely, they operate outside the normal laws of nature. Speed like that is impossible for flesh and bone, unless the flesh and bone aren't quite what they seem, unless the transformation goes deeper than just appearance, unless it wasn't just a human wearing animal skins, but something that can actually become the animal, rewrite itself at a fundamental level. And if it can do that, what else can it do? Marcus was on a school bus surrounded by teammates on a well-traveled highway, and something from Navajo legend ran alongside them, forced him to watch, smiled at him, transformed in front of him, then let him go. But the desert hasn't changed. The Skinwalkers are still out there, on the reservation roads, in the scrubland, running, wearing stolen skins, mocking sacred tradition. And sometimes, just sometimes, they let you see them. Not because they're afraid of being seen, but because they want you to know. They want you to understand that you're in their territory. If you ever find yourself driving through Navajo Nation at night, and you see something running alongside your vehicle, don't watch. Just drive. And hope it's just showing off. 85 miles per hour. I keep coming back to that number. It's not an approximation. The bus was going exactly that fast, and this thing kept perfect pace for miles. The forced eye contact troubles me deeply. This wasn't just a sighting, this was interaction. The Skinwalker chose to be seen and chose to make contact. The painted face, half black, half white, that's not random either. That's intentional symbolism, a perversion of sacred face painting traditions. And vomiting blood confirms this wasn't hallucination or misidentification. Something happened to Marcus on a physiological level. The blessing from the Navajo chief was necessary medical intervention, not just spiritual comfort. What disturbs me most, it let him go. This creature had him paralyzed, marked and cursed, and it just ran away, transformed into a coyote, and disappeared. Was that restraint? Or boredom? Either way, it could have done so much worse. Sleep well.
Welcome to the Midnight Registry, where the darkness keeps its secrets. Welcome to the Midnight Registry. Sleep.